Hello everyone and welcome back to Introduction to Programming with Python. Today we're going to be going over user input and comments. I guess we'll start off with user input. There are ways within your Python script to actually gather keyboard input from the user, and we use Python's built-in input function for that. So let's say I have a variable called x and I set it equal to this function. And then let's say just print x. When I run the script, notice how the program is sitting here idle and it's not actually finishing. What's going on is, as the interpreter goes through the lines of code, it sees that the input function has been stated here, so it sits here and waits for the user to actually input something into here. So I'm going to input something, I'll type in lemons, and I'll press enter. Now once I hit enter, then the rest of the script actually runs. Whoops, then the rest of the script actually runs and finishes. And so what this does is, whatever I input into here gets stored in this variable called x, and then I can just print x, and I see the result as the same thing I typed in. So we can do some pretty neat stuff with this. Let's say I want a script that takes in the name of a user and greets them with that name. So I can come in here and I can create a variable called username. This can also be a username is equal to input, and then I could say the actual greet. So I'll make another variable called greeting, and I'll combine the string hello space with the variable username. And so let's try and run this. I'll type in Peter, and oh, I gotta, let's see what we did here. I put an S at the end of the variable. Okay, let's try and run it now. I'll type in Peter again. Whoops. And oh, yeah, I have to actually print this. So let's come down here and actually print this variable greeting. Let's try and run it now. I'll type in Peter again. There we go, and it actually greets me saying hello Peter. One other thing we could do to make this look a little nicer is actually ask the user for their name, and let's just say what's your name. And now when I run this, it actually poses a question here. So this string that I typed in between the parentheses, it's not what gets stored in this username. It's just when it's looking for the input, it displays some text. So, you know, an actual question in here, I can just type in Alex, for example, and it'll greet me with hello Alex. So this is a cool way, this input function, to gather keyboard input from the user and then manipulate it somehow. And that's very easy because it actually gets stored as a variable. So it's a very useful thing to know. Now let's actually get into what comments are. Comments within any programming language, including Python, are ways to leave little notes within the script that developers can see, and it's not something that actually gets run or processed from the computer. So the way comments work within Python is we use these hashtag symbols. So I type in a hashtag on the line, and now no matter what goes on this line, as you can see, it gets blurred out, and that's because Python knows that whatever line has this hashtag is a comment, so it's going to actually ignore this. So it's going to go down throughout the script, see this line, and just completely ignore it and keep on going and processing the other lines of code. And so this can be used to leave little notes. So I could say something like this. This code gathers user input. And so I can just leave a little nice note there for any other developer looking at my script. Now there are other use cases for this, mainly in debugging, and let's say I actually don't want this print statement to get run. Let's say I don't want to greet the user. I can come in here and I can just comment it out just like that. And now when I run this, and I give it a piece of input, nothing gets printed. Python went through this code and completely ignored this line right here. If you want to easily comment more than one line out, within at least Sublime Text, you can come over here, highlight whatever code you want to comment out, and then press Control and then / just like that. And to undo that, I can just hit Control / again, just like that, and it gets uncommented. So that's how comments work within Python. They will come in handy later on, especially with debugging purposes. And with that being said, until next time.